All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for some real people out there just like you and just like me. All right, welcome back. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you so much to all those folks last weekend who responded to what I thought was kind of like the end, but it turned out it was a glitch. So just for future reference, the channel does go over to Rumble and to Odyssey, which I think are two pretty decent platforms. I don't know, if they're going to be financially lucrative at some point, but I would still say keep subscribing here, keep sharing the videos, keep watching the videos, and Patreon for $1 a month. I've had a lot of new patrons jump on board. I think much like yours truly, some people who watch this channel were a little bit alarmed by the fact that they could just turn off the revenue stream. And, like another guy who does a travel channel, he was saying, hey, this is my livelihood. This is how I pay my mortgage. This is how, for me, I'm going to have to fix the roof of my house after Hurricane Ian, right? So this is what I do. It's a good thing, and I appreciate that I get to do this, and you people out there continue to watch these videos. So yeah, money sometimes is important. And you know what? Here's the deal about money. When it comes to the band Journey, is it about money or is it about the principle of the matter? Well, Neal Schon, this is going to be the gift that keeps on giving for me, right? So I appreciate the fact that Journey is going through continued drama. If you've been with me for a few years, you know that they took a clip of my video and put it on CNN where I was saying something like, hey, this is the end of Journey. This could be the end of Journey. Back in the day when Jonathan Cain and Neal Schon were having a bit of a disagreement. And Neal Schon, again, very public about stuff. Whereas Jonathan Cain, even now, Jonathan Cain, very quiet, not saying anything about what's happening now. And also Steve Perry, not really responding yet. People think that Neal is trying to goad Steve into saying something about this. Neal on Twitter went out there and he actually posted some serial numbers. I don't know if they're called serial numbers, trademark patent numbers, not sure. It says US serial number 787777185, the trademark for music, and then the trademark for merchandise, which was 2020, serial number 9017260. I thought it was a Yes album there for a moment. The U.S. Trademark Office website, tsdr.uspto.gov. So Neal Schon basically telling fans, look, if you want to look up the trademarks for yourself, here they are. Now, to me, that's it's kind of being transparent, right? I mean, Neal Schon being transparent, just saying, hey, if you don't believe that this is the case, and you can look it up yourself. He's challenging people. And by the way, again, if you're somebody who does this sort of work, like if you do trademark law, if you do copyright law, and you'd like to be a guest on this show, I'd love to have you on to talk about this. And especially if you know the details of this case, because again, my credibility is always in question because I speculate, and I've been told on Twitter I don't know what I'm talking about, even though Neal Schon then said to that person, no, you're wrong. And that was more about who was in on the call, the famous call where there was supposed to be some kind of a coup and the coup didn't work. And that's just crazy. Whether you like Neal Schon or not, you can't take over his band. He's been there for 50 years, right? I don't think he wants to think about how long he's been in the band. And yeah, Journey was there before Steve Perry. I know this is a shocker to a lot of people. I'm trying to explain, hey, have you heard Spaceman? Have you heard that? I mean, it's a pretty good song. I mean, there are a bunch of songs, I think, that were legitimate, could be FM rock radio type songs and probably did get a little bit of airplay back during the mid to late 70s. I think it was 75, 76, and 77 maybe for those three albums. But they're all good. One of the albums had a song, I think, that was the basis for Carry On Wayward Son by Kansas. So I mean, yeah, these albums were pretty good. They weren't selling a lot because it wasn't AM radio material. It was more for FM radio. Anyway, they were selling tickets, and who knows what would have happened. Greg Raleigh, who is, everybody loves Greg. Who doesn't love Greg Raleigh, right? I mean, he was the vocalist, and, you know, he came from Santana, and he was great in Santana. He's been great with Ringo and his all-star band. He's been great as a solo artist. He is I think, twice Rock and Roll Hall of Famer with Journey and Santana. So that's pretty good stuff. Anyway, you know, he was pretty talented, and he took off when he realized, I think, number one, that Perry was going to be the dominant force in the band, obviously. Number two, apparently he didn't like being a road warrior anymore. Of course, then he went off later on to be in Ringo's band, but my guess is you can't compare, you know, the way things were back in the 70s and 80s when it came to being a road dog versus what it's like nowadays, you know. So Neal Schon on Twitter says, to me, it's about respect. Respect the fact of who's been there for all 50 years. And then a fan or somebody says, all about the dollars and not the music. And Neal Schon says, it's always been about the music, but you have to be a total moronic idiot to allow others to manipulate and make billions of dollars off your work. Ouch. So who's that directed toward? Well, I think it might be directed toward Steve Perry. It's also probably directed at people who have mismanaged this franchise for a number of years. Look, most rock stars, most people who are in this business to create music, they're not behind the scenes legal types. They're there to make the music, and they're hoping someone else takes care of their affairs properly. And in the case of Journey, and there are other bands like Chicago, I'm sure, you know, tons of stories exist. I mean, the Eagles, Don Felder felt that he was worth something, and the other guy said, nah, it's Henley and Fry. You're just a cog. Yeah, thanks for Hotel California, but you're just a cog. Just, you know, be the hired hand and be like Joe Walsh. It's funny because I think all those guys, from what I've heard, are equal partners now, which is kind of interesting, but took a long time. Took the divorce from Don Felder to get the Eagles to kind of straighten up and fly right, I guess, but pun intended. But with Journey, apparently it's going to take a lot more than that. My theory is Perry did not want them to go on. He just, and if they were going to go on, they were going to pay a price, and they did. That first agreement in 98, they paid a huge price, and now they might have to pay another price, you know, because all of these agreements along the way, they've been written and rewritten to write certain people in, to write certain people out, and then to hopefully diminish the income of people who aren't in the band. And keep in mind, there was just a settlement for Steve Smith and Ross Valerie not too long ago. Hey, guys, you're out. Here's your golden parachute. Leave us alone now. Leave us alone. You're not getting money in perpetuity, but here's a chunk of change. I don't know how much it was. Nobody has said, and maybe Neal Schon will elaborate and say, hey, you know, we just gave Steve Smith and Ross Valerie $10 million or something. I don't think it's that much, but I'm just saying. They gave Lindsey Buckingham a bunch of money, remember? Because they just kicked him out of Fleetwood Mac. Here you go, Lindsey. Here's for all your pain and suffering and all your troubles, here's a few $1 million. And, you know, I think Lindsey said the money was pretty good. but I think he still feels as though, being in Fleetwood Mac would have been better. And who knows? Maybe he'll be back in Fleetwood Mac. People need to pray for that guy's health because something's up with Lindsey Buckingham, and he canceled his European tour, and I just hope he's okay. There's a lot of weird stuff going on, and that's another video, and I don't want to get off on that tangent right now. But when it comes to Journey, people, I think this is going to go on, like I say, for quite some time. Neal Schon is into this, trying his case in the court of public opinion. That's what Neal Schon does. There are some other people out there who like to do this too. When you're trying to present evidence and you're trying to be transparent and you're giving out serial numbers for trademarks, you kind of look like a guy who's got nothing to hide, right? So whether you agree with Neal or not, I think that is something positive that he's doing here, showing people, look, here are the trademarks. If you want to go look this up, because people are questioning this left and right. People are like, no, that didn't happen. And he's putting it out there. I've been told I don't know what I'm talking about. And then Neal Schon says, well, he wasn't necessarily defending me. The other day, he retweeted one of my videos. So I'm grateful for that. He's also put stuff out on Facebook, and people are like, why are you talking to this guy? Why do you prop this guy up? He's blah, 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 and they just go off on me. It's just weird. It's just, like I say, I'm kind of harmless, but apparently for some people, I'm just a real big problem. For the melodic rock world right now, I'm one of just a handful of people who will promote the new stuff and talk about it and give people something else to listen to. Been talking about this band called Killer Kings lately. You should check out their single. It's called Higher. They've got, I think, 3 songs out there, but I'm totally addicted to Higher. If you like Whitesnake, Journey, Night Ranger, that kind of stuff, it's really, really good. And the album comes out tomorrow. So yeah, as soon as I get some physical product on that, it will be featured at the beginning of the video rather than me just blabbing about it at the end, because apparently, folks, we're going to need music going forward. We can't just rely on these geezer rock bands who are fighting legal battles. It is entertainment, though. We'll say that, and the more that Neal Schon tweets, the better my life is probably going to be. I'm just saying, Neal, okay? And yes, there's an open invitation if Neal would ever like to come on this broadcast and talk about this. Same with Steve Perry. If Steve Perry wanted to come on and say, hey, Steve, let's get your side of the story. I mean, that would break the internet. That would be Steve Perry and the RMO, and Steve Perry would give me a tongue lashing for all the bad things I've said in the past. Probably. I mean, Steve doesn't mess around. He did a couple of interviews, one with Andy Green at Rolling Stone, and he didn't really pull any punches. And that was when he was promoting the Traces album. So now that he's in the midst of a legal battle and he's got Christmas music coming out, I'm sure it would be a good promotional tool, Steve, if you want to do it. And then I'll just stand back and let you give your side of the story. Same with Neal. My guess is that neither one of these guys can do this right now because they're in a legal battle. And I'm not trying to say, well, I can't get them anyway. I probably can't get them anyway, but the point is they probably can't talk about this if they're in the midst of a case. Maybe somebody who's on the inside, who's not directly on the inside. And I know a couple of people, but they're probably not wanting to lose their job. So I'm thinking that they have to keep quiet until this is all over. And then someday we can all write a tell-all book and put all the information out there. I can have a bunch of chapters. I have a lot of intel that I can't share. And people think, yeah, you're lying. You don't have any intel. And then turns out I was right about something, 3 years later because I had the intel, and that's how I can do this channel and know that I'm not just spewing nonsense. I know that. The fact that I think Perry wanted to shut this down. He wanted them to go on, but in a very sort of diminished capacity. He really didn't want them to go forward. You know, the crack the stone thing, crack whatever, that he was serious. He's like, hey, don't do anything without me. That's what he really wanted. And they wanted to continue working, and they wanted to have Journey as the name of the band. And the name Journey, folks, whether you like it or not, whether you're pro Steve or anti Steve, the name Journey, right? The band name was decided, I think, by fans, right? And then adopted in what, 1974, 1975, something like that. And so that was before Perry. So who owns that name? Well, apparently the fans do, and I would say Neal, Schon, Greg Raleigh, Ainsley Dunbar, and Ross Valerie. If you're gonna, if you're gonna do it from a legal standpoint, but whoever picked that name, technically the fans picked it, and then the band adopted it. So, yeah, I don't know how you mess around with the Journey thing, like the trademark and all that. It was done before the band really blew up and became super popular. But Journey means a lot of different things to a lot of people. There are some people that love those 3 albums, those early albums, and believe Journey is a jam rock band, a fusion band, whatever you want to call it. And that's pretty good material. I'm really not sure about the Spaceman, though. If you know the song, nobody wants to be the Spaceman, according to the song. But it's a great tune. Greg Raleigh, who is a beloved figure, and I wouldn't be disappointed if Greg Raleigh wanted to return to Journey. I wouldn't be upset about that. Say if Jonathan Cain wanted to retire and Greg Raleigh wanted to come back. The Journey Through Time stuff was spectacular. If you haven't seen those videos of Journey Through Time in concert, there was a vibe about it. There was an organic, just a different feel to it, with Dean singing and Greg back, and it was just really cool. And I'm hoping someday that will actually be released in DVD format, or at least you could get the live, the actual audio album of it. That would be really cool. All right, people, I'm just rambling at this point. Again, check out Killer Kings. The song is Higher. The album comes out tomorrow. It's called Burn for Love. And until next time, folks, have yourself a great day, and I'll see you soon.